Hey guys, Monique here with Kirkus Writers Center, back at our office in Austin, sharing some of the greatest self-publishing success stories. When I was preparing for this video, I asked myself, how did 50 Shades of Grey become such a breakout hit? And more important, can this recipe for success work for you too? While it's true that there's no way to predict how successful a self-publishing book will be, there's much to be learned from those who've paved the way. With hard work, timing, and a whole lot of persistence, the rewards can be enormous. And these 5 indie publishers are proof. In this video, I'll be sharing some of the secret and not so secret tips and tricks that helped turn 5 self-published books into some of today's most famous indie success stories. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to the Kirkus Writers Center. We always have tons of great advice and insider tips to help make your book and your publishing experience the best it can be. Like and follow us for more about the business of writing, publishing, marketing, and promoting your books. All right, let's get into it with one of the biggest self-publishing success stories of the last decade, E.L. James's 50 Shades of Grey. Her book sold over 100 million copies worldwide, inspired a hit film, and became a worldwide phenomenon. But what was the magic formula that helped launch this erotic romance across the globe? First, James knew what women wanted. At the time it was published, women's erotica was still living in the shadow of its big sister, contemporary romance, just waiting to emerge as a major force in the romance book industry. Smaller independent presses like Alora's Cave and Kleist Press had loyal followings of readers, and genre powerhouses like Harlequin and Kensington had erotic series. But even those were just a small part of an overall list. 50 Shades of Grey was unapologetically erotic at the exact moment that women were clamoring for super sexy fiction. And E.L. James understood that erotica readers preferred ebooks, and readers who didn't yet read erotica would feel more comfortable with the privacy ebooks provided, so she met that demand. Another important thing that James did was create relatable characters. The book depicted explicit scenes of sex, but that wasn't the only thing that kept readers turning pages. The story at its core was about pushing personal and interpersonal boundaries, developing trust, and letting go of inhibition. 3 themes that are pretty universal. Readers fell in love with the characters and their romance, and the escapist naughtiness allowed many readers to imagine a romantic life very different from their own. For romance and erotic fiction readers, this is often the heart of what makes these books so appealing. The other things James did was ask for help, and she listened to feedback. 50 Shades was originally a piece of fan fiction based on the hugely popular Twilight series. Earlier in her career, she published small pieces of this Twilight fan fiction online and engaged with her readers. More important, she listened to their advice and she followed it. The result wasn't just a more accessible book that would become a bestseller. James created a loyal community of fans, and fans are always eager to support their favorite authors. And she marketed the heck out of it. James's approach combined 2 tried and true strategies. The first is that she got book blogs heavily involved, sending out copies of her book for review. The subsequent reviews increased both James's following and her fan base. She also made an enormous effort to engage fans through social media. By posting personal photos, inspiration for the books, such as photos of Christian Grey's apartment, and sharing related content, James invited readers into her world along with the world of her characters. And that's not only engaged readers, it's kept them engaged. The next breakout success I want to look at is The Martian. The Martian, which became an Oscar-nominated film starring Matt Damon, first got its start as a self-published book by author Andy Weir. Combining Weir's love of books with his love of space nerdery, The Martian is a science fiction tale about a man who is abandoned on Mars and must rely on his wits and science to survive. But Andy Weir didn't use social media to market his books. He didn't even have a Facebook page. So how did he turn a series of self-published chapters on his blog into a bestseller? Weir blinded his readers with science. He combined a tense, fast-paced plot with real science. Most of the technology featured in the book is based on real-life technology, and Weir's enthusiasm for it presented on every page. He also listened to reader feedback. Like E.L. James, he listened to what readers had to say about early drafts. Implementing their suggestions, especially those from actual scientists, contributed to the book's realism and believability. He made the price right. When readers started asking for an ebook, Weir created one. In order to make it accessible to the widest audience, he published it through Kindle Direct Publishing and charged only 99 cents for it. Suddenly, readers were leaving all kinds of positive reviews, and after a few months, it was one of Amazon's best-selling science fiction books. The result? A book agent reached out to Weir, and within a week, Random House offered him a contract, and he sold the movie rights to film. Now let's talk about one of the most unexpected success stories, and that is author Amanda Hocking's release of her paranormal ebook, My Blood Approves. The story has it that Hocking, who had been repeatedly rejected by publishers and agents, just wanted to make a few $100s to go see the Muppets. Instead, she sold 1.5 million books in less than 2 years. But how did that happen? She used more than one platform. Not only did Hocking want Amazon readers to be able to buy her book, but she also published My Blood Approves through Smashwords, ensuring that readers on other devices and buying from other retailers could read her book. With paranormal romance, one of the hottest genres at the time, she didn't leave anyone out. She had a smart sales plan. Hocking decided to sell My Blood Approves for 99 cents in order to appeal to new readers who weren't yet fans. Then she released the sequels for $2.99 each. The tactic worked. By drawing in readers with one budget-friendly hit, she made more money from subsequent books. She kept releasing books. It's no secret that one of the best methods to increasing your book sales is to keep releasing new books. The bigger an author's catalog, the greater the jump in overall sales. Hocking, who had more than 15 books, along with novellas, already written, was already well ahead of the game. And she spent money on a great cover. Hocking believes that people do judge books by their cover, and her sales proved it. She has said that hundreds and possibly thousands of readers admitted to purchasing her books based solely on the cover. Now, let's talk about one of my favorite genres, at least this week, thrillers. Mark Dawson had already self-published a book with discouraging results. With his next book, The Black Mile, he decided to do something different. And that difference launched his book into bestseller status over the course of a single weekend, selling 50,000 copies. Number one, he made the book free. Determined to get his name and his thriller in readers' hands, Dawson published The Black Mile for free through Amazon's Kindle Direct Publishing program. The result was electrifying. It also, unfortunately, taught him an important lesson. Free books don't earn an author any money. He followed up the success of The Black Mile with a new book. Now that he was a bestseller, Dawson realized he had no other book to sell. So what did he do? He used it to kickstart writing a new book immediately. He made it a priority to engage with his fans. Dawson responds to all of his fans' messages and works to maintain those relationships. He also uses this popularity to hold writing seminars. And to top it all off, he's created a massive mailing list of 15,000 people or more, so he has a ready fan base of readers for every new book announcement. He also invests in social media advertising. At one point, Dawson was investing $370 a day into Facebook ads, a practice he says more than pays for itself. In fact, he makes roughly double that in daily sales. And in my last example, someone told this author she had to write a book, and so she did. Speaker and coach Honoré Corder took the advice of Mark Victor Hansen, the co-author of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, who told her she must write a book. And she did. And it was called You Must Write a Book. Now, the best-selling author has written dozens of self-help books and sold almost 1 million copies. One of the key things that she did was sell her books in bulk. Rather than reach out to individual readers, Corder followed Hansen's advice and approached members of her personal and business network who she thought would buy more than 10 copies of her book, then turn around and use them as a promotional tool. In several cases, she sold upward of 1,000 books to a single customer or company who would tuck their business card inside and then give the book away. Another thing she did was advertise in her own books. She lets readers know how to buy her books in bulk, as well as encourages them to engage with her through her social media and her newsletter, and even book her as a speaker. Corder later found that some customers would buy thousands of her books if they could create a unique back cover that included their business information for promotional purposes. Another thing she does is sneak her book into bookstores. Corder is known to leave copies of her books in bookstores. Invariably, a customer would try to buy it, and often the bookseller would call the number in the book asking how to sell it. Do you know of another successful indie author story that we didn't cover? We want to hear from you, so share your favorite self-publishing author success story below. Did you like this video? Give us a thumbs up and leave us feedback in the comments. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe. We have more great videos with incredible tips coming up. You can also check out the Kirkus Writers Center for more blogs and articles about becoming a published author and selling your books. Thanks again for stopping by.